Many new players like to play knight b4 in this type of positions, or for white playing knight b5, trying to attack the c2 pawn. However, generally this is not a good idea if it's not very easily to win the c2 pawn or have a damage attack to your opponent's position. So for example, let's say in this position, black plays knight b4. White can simply play queen d2, and then next move white will be able to play a3 and then just kick out black's knight. So basically black didn't gain anything from those sequence of knight moves, and it's actually only helping white to further develop his pieces, putting the queen into a better position, and then continue white's own development. So this is one example. We'll come back to talk about what is a better plan. Let's look at another example. So here, some players will play knight b4, aiming for c2, but right now it's very well protected. So in fact, in this position, white has the simple choice to take the pawn immediately, since the knight on c6 was protecting the e5 pawn. Or in some other situations, white can simply play a3 and just kick out black's knight. Okay, so now we know we don't want to attack the c2 pawn if it's very well defended. Let's talk about how to play in this type of positions in general. And then we'll also come back to when is a good time to attack the c2 pawn. Okay, to get back, let's just talk about what's the better development moves. Bishop f5 here is a straightforward move with the idea to play queen d7 next, building a battery to attack the h3 pawn, having a 2-on-1 situation. Another good move, just play rook e8, trying to control the e file, and whenever if white plays d4, now at least we have an open file on the e file. Okay, similarly in the earlier position, in this position, it's much better to just develop the pieces. Knight f6, e6 next, getting the bishop out, then castle. So focus on develop your pieces. Make sure those pieces are all ready to go, all ready to fight in the center, to get ready to attack different pieces. But avoid moving the same piece twice, especially if the pawn is very well protected. In our earlier video, we talked about generally it's not a good idea to play knight g5 or knight b4 to attack f7 pawn or c2 pawn when it's very well protected. In this video, we'll talk about when it is a good idea to attack those pawns. So in this position is the famous two knights defense. It's actually a good idea to play this move. Now we have a 2-on-1 situation, and it's not that easy for black to defend. Queen e7 is not a good move because white still takes the pawn, and it's not a good trade if black has to give up the queen. So as many of you know, this is the Fred liver attack, and after take, black doesn't want to take back this way. For many of you, you can find videos on YouTube where game analysis are shown for the Fred liver attack. However, I'm sure many of you know the best move here, or one of the best move at least, knight a5 is the right way for black to sacrifice one pawn, but having some development initiatives. So in this position, it makes much more sense because it's not so easy for black to defend against the f7 pawn. Similarly, let's look at another example of attacking the c7 pawn. d4, d5, knight c3, knight c6, bishop f4, knight f6. Now is a great idea to play knight b5. 2-on-1 on c7, not that easy to defend against the c7 pawn. And in fact, the only move is e5. But now white wins this pawn, and compared to the Fred liver attack, this is much better for white. For example, if black plays this, white can sacrifice and then win the pawn on c7, and also forking on the king and the rook. Of course, better move, knight h5, but now white can play e3, attacking the knight, and if black trees, okay, white is up a pawn, and next move maybe develop this knight, get this knight back to d4, and white is up a pawn. So in general, only attack the c7 pawn, f7 pawn for white, and c2 pawn and f2 pawns for black if your opponent cannot defend that pawn easily. If it is easily defended, then moves such as knight g5 or knight b4 is not very useful because you will just get kicked out immediately. Alright, go play more games. Make sure you apply this strategy in your games.